faces on. Oh, good God. I just did that on camera. I just really did that. You'll have to watch the video and you'll be like, what the in hell are you doing? Doofus!
And like me, I knew you had it in you.
I got it in me. So,
Yeah, we didn't do our normal Saturday night thing because we had shit to do.
right?
So
We had other things that we had to take care of. Well, of course, and it was Easter weekend, and well, didn't do much on Easter at all,
yeah.
but because well, I'm in Georgia and my family in Indiana, except for my wife. But we just kind of hung out all day and just kind of chilled each other. It's really pretty nice. Had a good time actually.
And my my kids and grandkids are spread out all over the country. I've got some in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and I've got some in Tampa, Florida, Clearwater. I've got them in Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, real quiet and kind of sad, but kind of nice. I didn't have to even get dressed all day long. It was awesome. I just laid in bed and watched King of Kings and about like 40 times. That's one of my favorite movies.
I got binge I got been watching Spartacus, Blood and Sand from it was on Stars, I guess about a couple years ago, and that was pretty decent. I don't know how how any of that is as far as accuracy, but I like periods just like that.
Yeah. I did miss my kids though. I mean, when you get to be a certain age, life starts to change, and the hardest thing that you'll ever do as a parent is to let them go.
Yeah.
And it's when they put a couple thousand miles between you, you don't really have much of a choice. So it's so that's different, but you make it work. Like I said, I enjoyed my day laying around in my pajamas, watching TV, and just eating what I wanted when I wanted.
Right? Yeah, so, we like I said, we didn't do diddly. We just kind of hung out and spent the day together and made phone calls late in the afternoon, Skype calls and stuff like that.
Yeah. I surfed around on the internet a little bit, hung out on Facebook, and did some reading, found some interesting stuff that we'll talk about later. And
porn.
No, it wasn't porn. Fool.
You was looking at porn. You ain't lying. You was looking at porn.
Porn. You know what?
What?
Porn today is different than porn in my day.
Oh,
porn
good God.
In my day, I'm just saying. Now, it was gross then, too, but it's gross. Shut up. It was more psychological, too. You know what I mean? The movies actually had some kind of a theme to them, even though they did have really cheesy music. That's hasn't changed.
Wow.
But
okay, let's break this down a little bit. Porn back in the day versus porn
back
now.
In the day.
Now I'll give you. Now I'm not no spring chicken, so I kind of remember some porn back in the day. With all the hair and all of the hairy guys and the right. And I remember, there's really, because people are just stupid when it comes to porn involvement as far as what they do now versus what you would ever have saw back in, say, for me, the mid to late 80s and on, and how that progression has gotten so much more graphic and so much more dirty.
Yeah.
Than, say, you were to watch a stag film that somebody made in the 50s. I've seen those. And they don't even compare.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'm thinking of the old 8mm films that the dudes watched in the back room. You know what I mean? That's to me what porn was.
Yeah.
This stuff today is just like gross.
Right.
It's not a turn on to me like the old stuff was. You had to think more. More stuff went on in your head. You know what I mean? So, shut up. That's it. I'm done. We're not talking about porn anymore. I'm a grandmother. Knock it off.
Oh my God.
How the hell did that even start?
Well, because we were talking about the progression of that. And
yeah.
And okay, on a paranormal ufology tip, how have the stories of UFOs and abductions and even ghosts and from the poltergeist to basic haunts to malevolent haunts. I mean, the stories then, how do you think they rate throughout the time, say from, let's just go from the 70s, since that's a common ground for you and I.
Yeah.
Okay. I got this, hold on, I got my mic is right in my face and right in the camera. So, progression of stories, and I wouldn't, and honestly, I wouldn't even begin to know. And if you guys have stories from way back in the day, from 70s, early 80s, versus stories that you have now, send it to staffnpr@gmail.com and wpgpradio@gmail.com, because I would really like to know. I mean, has it progressed like porn? I mean, has the stories gone from one stage of where you, like you said, a subliminal turn on to a full on graphic nasty turn on? Is that the same thing that with paranormal stories? I mean, has the stories over the years progressed so bad that and you can vouch for it, I mean, everything's a demon. Everything's nasty in my house. It's so bad. When actually, I mean, how do you know?
Well, you know what? I think some of that started up when you started seeing it on cable TV. Ghost hunters first became wildly popular. People started watching it. And then all of a sudden, everybody was talking about it, and always talking about their ghost stories. Back in the 70s, people didn't talk too much about it because most of the time when they did, people looked at you like, okay, Yeah. People are more accepting now. I'll give you that much. And like back when I first reported my UFO experiences that first came out public, back in the early 80s. Late 70s. People didn't talk about this. Good Lord. I was embarrassed to even talk about it to the researchers because it sounded crazy to me. And hell, now you can go into Walmart and you can buy any number of T-shirts or lunch boxes or whatever with alien heads all over it, and it's all cool. Right. And everybody wants to be abducted, and everybody's, groups of people stand out on the beaches and out in the fields and the mountains and try to call them in. I'm like, what the actual are you people trying to do? I mean, that's something I don't get. While I embrace what happened to me in that it created who I am today, you know what I mean, to go through it. Right. I didn't ask for it. I didn't look for it. I didn't seek it out. I just happened to be either in the wrong place at the right time or the right place at the right time, depending on your point of view. Yeah. Just happened. Or, born into the right family. I don't know. So, but today, people think it's borderline on cool. Yeah. And it's really not cool.
Right.
So,
well, it goes back to the old adage, it's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye.
Yeah, or with sugar daddies, it's all fun and games until daddy wants some sugar.
Right.
but I think the experiences change and evolve as individuals. Mm-hmm. It depends on where you are in the process. If this is just happening or coming up like I was in the 70s, I read a lot of people that are just coming to the realization that something's going on, where I was, 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. Then you get to my age and you progress 25, 30 years from that point, things do change. They're getting, and they get some wrong ideas from some of these guys that show up on TV, because I don't know where in the hell some of these guys.
I've got to say that one thing about, like you mentioned, ghost hunters, one thing about them, I've never seen an episode where they've acted like it was something so malevolent that they...
I think they were a good representation of the...
them lose focus on their mission, and I think...
Well, I'll tell you, I know, having worked with television and things like that, they will often, they are going for the biggest bang for their buck,
Right.
And
And that's their job.
Drama sells. They embellish things, I think, to make it look more scary and get people on the edge of their seat. Because you and I both know, good Lord, how many times have we been on investigations where we have sat for hours and hours and hours, and the only thing that got scared was my hips because I ate a whole box of donuts.
That wasn't your hips that was scared. That was the air pushing out of your butt.
I mean, hours.
Did you hear that? No, it's just dead dropping ass.
Shit that nothing happens, and you walk through and people are saying, well, this and this and this, and you're able to debunk everything in like a half an hour and show them what it actually is, and then you sit there all night long and you can't hardly stay awake, and then you got to go home and listen to 16 hours of audio tape, and then you want to pass out again. I mean, it's not glamorous, and you got to make a show out of that. So I think they finally got to it, figured out they need to Trixie this shit up a little bit, and that's when it started getting kind of spoiled, I think.
Well, I'm sorry, you don't have real time. I mean, let me rephrase that. You don't always have real time evidence or real-time events that happen. Or
no, you don't know it until the next day when you're reviewing stuff, and then you're like, ah!
And I'm still, I mean, I've heard voices myself, and I know you have too. I mean, we've heard them on the show. You and I have investigated quite a bit together. We know, something's odd about the room, and we'll stay in there, but doors close on us or whatever. But 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, we don't know what the hell is going on when it's going on. I mean, you're there from, say, for a 6-hour investigation from 9 to 3 in the morning. You can go from 9 to 2:45 and have absolutely nothing, and then things will start getting sketchy when you're, okay, well, let's get ready to start wrapping up, and things will start tripping off.
Right.
But, yeah, and the bottom line, like you said, I mean, they're TV shows, and that's what they've got to do, and
now, see, you and me need to get a TV show.
Right.
I mean, really.
You know what? I don't know.
We would do great.
I think it would be a show better. I'm just saying.
I try to behave, but,
Seriously? Seriously? No.
Shut up. Whatever.
We have borrowed the same voice box. I mean, there's just no getting around that.
I think we were...
Up down the track. No, but seriously. I said that with a straight face.
Did it hurt?
No, not that it necessarily did. I mean, what was the experience?
Just shut up.
I've never... I know you have been hypnotized, right?
Yeah.
I know you went through that process and whatnot. I've never been through that process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you cognitive of what's going on around you when you're under? I mean, can you hear him? Obviously you can talk or hear whoever's talking to you because they're helping you diagnose or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. What do you experience?
I can't talk for. Well, you hear, and I can't. What I'm about to talk about is like therapeutic hypnotherapy. I'm not talking about the Hollywood hyped up stuff. I don't know anything about that. And I think that's pretty much probably a lot of showy. But I was hypnotized by a psychiatrist in New York, and she walked me through it slowly. Basically, when you're hypnotized, you are super relaxed. You are in a super relaxed state. Your mind is quiet. Your mind and your body are one and connected, and they start you out focusing on your breathing and on feeling every sensation in your body from head to toe. And you focus in on that. And it isn't that you don't hear what's going on around you. It's just that you do it all the time.
Well, isn't that meditation?
Stress and anxiety. Meditation is a form of hypnosis, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ultra relaxed state of being in your mind. I mean, I think your brain maybe like goes to alpha waves or something. But it's not mystical. You cannot be made to do something that is against your moral, character. Like you can't be hypnotized and somebody can say, go kill somebody. And in the process, I try to give myself some positive, reinforcing words and phrases to carry with me as I drift off, when I'm doing it. But it's really, and the worst thing that can happen is the guy who hypnotizes you, puts you deeply, you have gotten yourself deeply into a state, and he croaks, you're not screwed. You have the rest of my life.
Office Space.
What?
Where his therapy guy passed away and he's still under whatever the... Yeah, that was an awesome movie.
Now, I think hypnosis, I think it can be a good tool, psychologically speaking, when done by a psychiatrist. I think it can help you to deal with anxiety and stress and help to keep you calm. But as a tool for like UFO experiencers, people who think they've been abducted and all that, I'm not so sure that it's that great of a tool that should be leaned on so heavily for inadvertently contaminate somebody's subconscious when you're in an ultra relaxed.
Uh-oh. There's our call in the drop. Well, if there's not any technical problems, then of course it's going to not be a good show, right? Right. That's funny. So let me get Deb back on the line with us here. Yeah. Are you that relaxed that's what's actually happening is that you are...
And you don't want to mess with... You certainly don't want to try to hypnotize, relax somebody that is a serious mental illness. And an untrained individual may not recognize somebody that has a serious mental illness.
Right.
And also, you have to conduct it in a certain way and be very, very careful about what you say and not be leading. And
right.
And a lot of times that does happen. And while I have been hypnotized several times by psychiatrists or psychologists, also by Bud, who was not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but he was guided by Dr. Aphrodite Clemar. So he was, I don't even have my audio